These are exciting times at Maruti Suzuki Limited. The car maker recently launched their upmarket and luxurious dealerships called Nexa and also launched their first ever premium crossover called the S-Cross. And now the company is ready with its second product for the Nexa dealerships called the Baleno. So what is this car all about? Well, essentially it is a rival for the Hyundai Elite i20 as well as the Honda Jazz, and is a car which will sell above the Maruti Suzuki Swift. So how good is it? Well, let's find out. Well, here I am in the back seat of the all-new Maruti Suzuki Baleno, and I have adjusted the front seat for my height and my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10", and even then I have got loads of knee room over here. Headroom is pretty generous as well, so this is one of the better small cars for those tall passengers. And what Maruti have done is they have raised the front seat slightly, and what that means is that you have place below them where you can stretch your feet. Well, the other good point about the Baleno is the fact that the floor panel is very flattish. There's a very small hump in it, but because the footwells are so wide, you can of course sit three over here, and there will be no fight for leg room or knee room. And what that means is that sitting three in comfort over here should not be a big issue. And if you are someone who unfortunately does get stuck in the middle seats over here with two other occupants, then you will get a very good view of that stylish dashboard up ahead. Well, the Baleno, just like the Swift as well as the S-Cross, will come with an all-black cabin. There's no beige in the cabin, and that's a good thing because the beige inside these cars does tend to soil rather easily. Well, the highlight, of course, inside the cabin is the Apple CarPlay system, which you can access through this huge 7-inch screen over here. And this screen also doubles up as the navigation device as well as the car stereo. And I have to say that this is one of the most intuitive and easy to operate systems. So if you are someone who is using an Apple iPhone, you can of course mirror the apps on this phone over here on this screen, and what that essentially means is that driving becomes a very breezy affair. You don't have to focus on where your phone is and have to be constantly searching for it when a phone call comes. And you can also take calls over here on the screen. You can also use your maps and other applications which are available on your iPhone. And remember, this is the only car at this price point to offer this feature. Well, how do you mirror the apps on your phone onto this screen over here? All you need to do is get a USB and plug it into your phone. Well, remember, you have to use the right cable. This is of course the cable for iPhone 5s and 6, and I'm still using an outdated iPhone 4s. Well, overall, in terms of quality, this car is at par with most of its rivals. It is at par with the Hyundai Elite i20, which of course is its main rival. It's also a pretty practical place to be in. You get two cup holders over here. You get a small tray where you can keep your phone as well as wallet right up ahead. You also get this small box over here where you can of course keep those Tic Tacs or those small chewing gums in. And the door bins are genuinely large enough to house those big 1-liter bottles when you are on the highway. Well, not only is Maruti improving their game in terms of quality as well as overall comfort, but they're also improving the game in this segment for sheer safety. Now, this car, the Baleno, comes with 2 airbags as well as ABS standard across all variants. And that goes to show you the amount of commitment that Maruti have towards safety in this segment. And if you want to know more about the equipment as well as features on this car, you can of course head to our website by clicking on this link below. Well, another area where the Baleno truly impresses is in the boot capacity department, and this car offers you a boot space of 339 liters, which is a very good amount considering the class and category this car is in. And even though there's a bit of a hump over here, which means you will have to really put in your back and pull out those heavy objects, you can forgive Maruti for this hump because it is a very well-shaped boot and also a pretty spacious one. If you want to improve capacity further, you can of course drop the backrest of these seats down, and these are split seats, which means that you can split it 60-40. You can drop one of the backrests down and the other one stays up, and that adds to the practicality of this car. There's a bit of a hump when you drop these seats down, but even then the space is pretty generous considering it is, at the end of the day, a premium hatchback. Well, so the new Baleno comes with 2 engine options, and these are of course options that we have seen before. There's a 1.2 litre petrol motor which develops about 85 bhp, and there's also a 1.3 DDI diesel engine which develops about 74 bhp, and these are the same engines which are also found on the Maruti Suzuki Swift as well as the Dzire. Well, if you are someone who is going to choose the petrol engine option, then it is a good engine. It is a very refined engine and also a very responsive engine, and it starts responding from a relatively low 1200-1300 RPM, which makes it a very good engine for city travel because you don't have to constantly be shifting gears to get it in the right power band. Remember, this car is one of the lighter cars in its category, and that's largely because Maruti have used newer age materials and newer age steel, which is much more lighter in weight but also a lot more stronger. So this car is under 1 ton, but even then it does not feel light when you are traveling in it on the highway. It feels very stable, it feels very reassuring. And well, the diesel engine is of course the tried and tested motor, and we have really seen this on a lot of cars in the Maruti Suzuki platform. And it does suffer from a little bit of turbo lag, so you will have to pump it up to 2000 RPM before it really gets going. But of course, once it does cross that mark, it really does fly. And the engine is very good in terms of power delivery and responsiveness once of course it crosses that figure. The gearbox is also very crisp and is very similar in operation to the one on the Maruti Suzuki Swift. In fact, this car really does feel like you are driving a slightly larger version of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. And when I say that it reminds you of the Swift, I say it in a nice way, because just like the Swift, this car is very chuckable, it's very throwable into corners. The handling is very good, it's very neutral. So it is a car which you can of course use as your everyday commute to office and drop the kids to school at. But it's also a car which you will enjoy when you take it out on that long highway trip, as well as push it into those corners in the hills. Well, the steering wheel on the Baleno is pretty light for town travel, which means that parking this car into tight spaces should not be an issue at all. But that said, it does tend to add up decent weight when you take it out on the highway and does not really feel very nervous when you are doing speeds in excess of 100 kph. Well, I've said this before and I will say this again, that Maruti Suzuki are the masters when it comes to suspension tuning, and it's no different on this new car. And this car is a nice mix of comfortable ride as well as agile handling, and it does soak in the bumps at slow city speeds very well, and even on the highway it does feel very reassuring and very stable, and it does really soak in those bumps without any fuss at all, no matter what the speed is. While the Baleno comes across as the best all-rounder in this premium hatchback space, it offers you the practicality of a big boot, the comfort of a mid-size sedan, and plenty of features as well, some of which in fact are not even found as options on some of its rivals. All that along with the tried and tested petrol and diesel engine from the house of Maruti Suzuki, as well as the company's extensive after-sales network, make this car a no-brainer for sure.